There are many different ways to impress somebody. Some people may use their money, their fancy cars, or their great charm. For me, I have none of those, but I do know a cool way to impress somebody, and that is doing a card trick. This is a super cool card trick that is easy to learn for any ages, and it'll leave people guessing for weeks. The first step to this card trick is to begin counting out 21 cards. It doesn't matter what card they are, if they're a face card, number card, certain suit, doesn't matter, just need 21 cards. So you're going to begin by counting out 21 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. What's also really cool about this card trick is you don't necessarily need a full deck of cards to do it. You just need 21 cards. Once you've counted out all 21 cards, you're going to begin by facing the card deck towards the person in front of you, or the person that you're doing the card trick to. You're going to fan all the cards out, making sure that you specifically cannot see the cards, and you're going to ask the person you're doing the trick to choose a card. You want to tell them not to say the card out loud, but to choose the card in their head. For our instance, for me to prove to you guys that this card trick does work, we are going to pick a card. And I'm going to pick the Queen of Spades. So once the person has chosen their card, you're going to fan the deck back together, and you're going to place the deck down in front of you. After the person has chosen their card, you are now ready to begin the 3-pile sequence. This sequence is by doing 3 piles of 7 cards, obviously because 3 times 7 is 21, and you're going to do this by placing 1 card at a time down into these piles. So I'm going to begin by counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. When doing this, you don't necessarily need to count out loud. I would count on your head. Also, you want to make sure when you are placing the piles, you want to make sure that they don't get mixed up with each other. Obviously, that will ruin the card trick. So, first, you are going to start with your pile on your left. You're always going to work left to right. So, starting with our pile on our left, we are going to fan it out towards the person. We're going to show them all the cards, make sure they can see every single card that's in this pile, and simply ask them, is your card in this pile? For our instance, our Queen of Spades is in this pile. So, our person would say yes, and we want to keep that in our head and place the pile back to where it was. Then we're going to go to the middle pile. Fan it out towards the person, asking them, is your card in this pile? They would say no. So you're going to put the cards back together, place them back down. Then the last pile, you're going to fan it out towards them. Is your card in this pile? They're going to say no. So you're going to put the cards back together and place them down. Now this is the most important part of the card trick. When combining the piles, you want to make sure that the pile with the person's card goes in the middle when combining them. And you also want to make sure that the pile furthest left goes on the bottom. For our instance, we obviously have no pile that's further left than our pile. If you get to this point, it's going to be the pile that's currently in the middle is going to be your bottom pile. So we're going to pick up our pile that contains our person's card, place it in the middle, and the other pile is going to follow. Once you get to this point, you are going to repeat the 3-pile sequence, and you're going to do it exactly like you did before. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. So now we got all our even piles. We're going to start from the left again. I'm showing the person. Is your card in this pile? Yes, our Queen of Spades is in this pile. So we got to remember that first pile. Second pile. Is your card in this pile? No, our card is not in this pile. We're going to go to the last pile. Put your card in this pile. No. Then we got to remember our rules again. That pile containing that person's cards got to go in the middle. So it's going to be placed on top of that middle pile, and the last pile following. Once you get to this part, you are done with the 3-pile sequence. You are going to begin by flipping one card at a time face up towards the person. While you're doing this, you want to be counting the cards, but you don't want to count out loud. You want to keep everything in your head and make sure you're not mouthing that you're counting, because that also gives it away. So you're going to begin by flipping up the cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Once you get to that 11th card, that is going to be the person's card. But you don't want them to know that you already know the person's card. So when doing this, you want to flip as fast as possible, but once you get to that 11th card, you want to remember what that card is. So I got to remember the Queen of Spades and keep flipping. Once you're finished flipping all the cards, I like to shuffle them around, make it look like you don't know the person's card, but we do know it. So then you're going to find that person's card, show them, say, is this your card? They're going to say yes. If they say no, you did it wrong. You could have messed it up when you were combining the piles. You could have put the wrong pile in the middle, the wrong pile in the bottom. You could have also mixed up a card or two when you were fanning them. Obviously, if one card falls out of place, it's a counting method, so it's not going to work. This card trick is super fun, easy to learn, but it does take a lot of practice. And I have some tips for you guys. When practicing, you should do it to yourself the first few times. You can face the cards towards yourself and choose a card, and make sure when you're doing the piles and you get to that last part when you're flipping up, that your card ends up being the 11th card. You also want to practice doing that 3-pile sequence, making sure you get that correct card in the bottom and that person's card ends up in the middle pile when you're combining them. Also, when you're flipping up, you want to make sure that you're doing it as fast as possible and not make it obvious that you're counting in your head. And you got to make sure that you remember that 11th card, or else you're going to ruin the trick. Once you master this trick, you'll be able to impress anybody of all ages. It's fun to teach your family or different friends. Like I said earlier, while you may not have a lot of money or fancy cars, you will have a really cool card trick, and that, my friends, is priceless.